All right, guys, we are here. It's been a little while since we've done one of these, but with the postseason starting soon, we're excited. Obviously, we got Landon with us today, and we're going to talk about the girls' sectionals. We'll break down. We won't go into too much depth if it's a runaway section, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But we'll try to break down every section and go over everything the best we can. Guys, also stay tuned. We'll have one of these for the regionals, and we'll also have one of these for the state tournament. We want to thank everybody for still following us, even though it's been a crazy year to say the least.
Yep, time for some April Madness now.
Some April Madness, a little different than the March that we're used to, but at least we're having it. Obviously, guys, before we dive in, we want to give a big shout out to our sponsor at CryoFix, especially with this season with the games as close as they were and the postseason coming up. Guys, go check them out. Great muscle recovery with the compressions, the cryo, and now they have the sauna. Guys, go check them out downtown in Charleston. Great people, definitely help you out. But with further ado, we'll jump right in. We'll start with good old 4A this year. In Region 1 and Section 1, we have Morgantown, Wheeling Park, John Marshall, and Brooke.
I just got some news too that Brooke has tested positive, so they're out already.
Okay, so
John Marshall and Wheeling Park will face and play, and Morgantown plays the winner of that game.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now that Brooke is officially out, and you hate to hear it, no matter if they're the best team or not in that section, you always hate to hear it, and definitely tough to be Brooke right now. But we'll continue on, and I mean, Wheeling Park versus John Marshall, I do think Wheeling Park will win that game. They just have too much firepower.
I agree.
Especially with Lindsey Garrison is just knocking it down this year. So
he's one game.
I think when you look at it, for the sectional championship, it'll be Morgantown versus Wheeling Park, and I think Morgantown will get this win and win their section.
Morgantown, they're pretty solid. They got only 2 losses on the season, but they beat Wheeling Park last year for regionals to go to states. So, Wheeling Park, revenge.
Oh, so our first section and our first disagreement. Yeah. That's okay. Definitely, I mean, I'm right there with you. I definitely get that. Wheeling Park was the best team from the start to the finish last year up until regionals, and Morgantown went into Wheeling Park and won and made the trip to Charleston last year. So
yep.
it'll definitely be a fantastic game. But I do think Morgantown finds a way and ends up with the sectional title.
We shall see.
But that's the fun of everything. You love to be different. Because if we agreed on everything, this would be an extremely, extremely boring podcast.
Yeah, I agree.
So we're moving right along. We'll go into Section 2. You have University, Buchanan-Upshur, Preston, and Bridgeport. So University will play Bridgeport, Buchanan-Upshur plays Preston. Your thoughts on this section?
2 and 3 matchup between Preston and Buchanan-Upshur will be good. University over Bridgeport, too strong. I like Preston over Buchanan-Upshur though, because Preston, they only lost by 3 the first time they played in the regular season. Mm-hmm. So it'll be a good matchup again.
Well, it'll definitely be a great matchup. I think I'm going to go with you on this one with Preston. I do think Buchanan-Upshur, they do have some pieces. Yeah, so, I mean, you never know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be an interesting section there. And then the regionals is what I'm excited for with these great matchups, and then just moving right along to that.
Right. Yeah.
Not too much in depth with that one, but we'll still stay in 4A, go Region 2, Section 1 with Martinsburg, Spring Mills, and Hedgesville. So the winner of Spring Mills, Hedgesville will play Martinsburg.
Yeah, I got Spring Mills over Hedgesville, and then Martinsburg win the section.
I mean, I definitely think so. I think Martinsburg, where they came down last year and then the state tournament was canceled, I definitely think they want to make that trip back to Charleston I don't know, this is just sectionals, but I do like Martinsburg to come out of that section. And I do like Spring Mills also over Hedgesville.
Yeah.
With Martinsburg, obviously you have Olivia Mayer. Some great athletes all around on that team. So I look for Martinsburg to be back down here to Charleston, but definitely to come out of that section.
For sure.
And then Section 2 is an intriguing one to me. You'll have Musselman playing Washington, and the winner of that game will play Jefferson. I look for Musselman to beat Washington, and I know Jefferson, if I'm not mistaken, just beat Musselman last week or week before.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty close game, but I look for Musselman to find a way to win that section and come out of Section 2.
Yeah, I got Musselman advancing to the sectional championship, and I got Jefferson over Musselman to get the regionals for that top spot.
And that's the crazy part to me. When you look, and even whoever loses the game against Jefferson and Musselman in the long run is still going to regionals, but we'll have to travel. So if I'm guessing correctly, the loser of Section 2 will play the winner of Section 1.
Yeah, that's correct.
So Musselman versus – I mean, why not? Musselman versus Martinsburg for the regional title. Why not?
Musselman got them, I think, by single digits earlier this year. So.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a lot of people aren't talking about is up in the Panhandle. I mean, there's some great basketball. Even on the boys' side, Musselman is very solid, and so is Martinsburg. So we got a couple weeks until the boys' section. I mean, I know the sectional games, I believe, start next week. I know in Charleston, in this area anyway, obviously Nitro will play Wednesday night, and then Friday if they win. So it'll be interesting. It'll be a busy, I guess you could say, next 3 weeks. With sectionals, regionals, and then all day in Charleston at the state tournament.
All week in Charleston, yeah.
All week, yeah. I mean, exactly right. Moving right along, you have Region 3, Section 1. You have GW, Capital, South Charleston, and Riverside. The game that strikes me in this one is South Charleston against Capital. I definitely think George Washington will take care of business against Riverside. But the big thing about it is I know Capital just beat South Charleston, I believe, by 6.
Yeah, it's close.
So, I mean, you never know. South Charleston could, come out and beat Capital and then play GW for the section. You never know. But it's no fun to go, basically, as they say, straight chalk. Right. So I am going to take South Charleston over Capital in this one and get their revenge.
Right. I do think South Charleston might have a little bit more experience with Witten and some of those players. I still like Capital here over South Charleston.
There's a lot of talent at Capital this year. But it's going to be interesting to see, especially in that section. I definitely think GW comes out of that section.
Yeah.
But moving right along, we'll go to Section 2, and you have Woodrow, Greenbrier East, Princeton, and Oak Hill, which Woodrow plays Oak Hill, Greenbrier East plays Princeton. I definitely think in this one it goes 1-2, and I think Woodrow plays Greenbrier East for the sectional title.
Yep.
And I think Woodrow wins the section.
I agree completely with that.
See, we're on the same page every now and then.
Yeah, Woodrow is dominant for that section.
I mean, Woodrow, in my opinion, I watched their game last night or night before against Greenbrier East, and I mean, Caden Stewart's Caden Stewart. She's going to score. She's going to get hers. She started cold and then got in the flow of the game and played real well. But the big thing to me is Woodrow is just too big.
Yeah.
I mean, Greenbrier East got their outside shots, but I mean, anything inside with Olivia and the other one that just committed to West Virginia State. I mean, they're just too big, and I think Woodrow wins the section probably quite easily, in my opinion.
Probably. Regionals for that will be a little interesting. But
I mean, that's what I'm excited for. Obviously, sectionals are fun, but the great stuff comes with regionals and then state tournament.
When the bid for to go to states is on the line, it's a little bit different.
Oh, without a doubt. Now, going on with Region 4, Section 1 is Huntington, Cabell Midland, and Spring Valley. I guess Midland plays Spring Valley, and then the winner plays Huntington. It's a very interesting section, to say
Right.
the least.
Yeah.
You have 2 top 5 teams in one section. I definitely think we watched. Me and you actually just went to GW on Monday and watched the Huntington GW game where GW won by double digits. I definitely think Cal Midland takes care of business and beats Spring Valley, but it's going to be an interesting matchup against Huntington.
Yeah, the rivals as it is. So I think
Right.
Spring Valley definitely they got. I mean, they're just unlucky being this section.
Right.
They're a solid team. You know, they could get out somewhere else, but it is what it is. Yeah, I'd like Calvin Midland over Huntington too, though. I think Calvin Midland got too much depth. I mean, Huntington, when they hit shots, they're not too bad. Their defense, we saw that press, and that was crazy.
And that's the thing. I mean, you press. You glad you brought that up. You have the press. They were down, I believe, around 20 points at halftime.
Yeah, 20.
And I believe they cut it down to 10 or less, headed into the fourth quarter after the third because of that press.
Right.
That press gave GW so many problems. And they couldn't get the ball in bounds. And when they did get the ball in bounds, they would turn it over.
Right.
I mean, any kind of pressure at all. I mean, Huntington, they're just quick.
Yeah.
And but I do think Cal Midland, like you said, has too much depth.
Yeah.
And I think Cal Midland pulls away late in that one. And I think Cal Midland comes out of that section.
Yeah, they got more people who can handle the ball and in that situation. So they should get it.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at this Cal Midland team, I mean, they made the state tournament last year with a young team and didn't lose anybody and gained a top freshman in the state with Sophie Aldridge and then Hazley Matthews with the transfer. I definitely think that they're going to be a team to watch when it gets to the state tournament.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Now, the next section, I don't believe that it goes 1-2. And just wait. Let me explain before everybody goes, oh wow. I definitely think it's Parkersburg South against St. Albans and Parkersburg against Hurricane.
Right. Yeah.
I definitely think South takes care of business and beats St. Albans.
I agree.
But with the injuries and everything going on at Parkersburg, this Parkersburg Hurricane game could be a very, very sneaky good game.
Yeah.
Do I think Hurricane pulls it out? They might, but Parkersburg is still Parkersburg, and that's what I look at. I mean, it's going to be an interesting section to say the least because Parkersburg's at home, Parkersburg South's at home, but I think Parkersburg South takes care of business against St. Albans. True. But that Parkersburg Hurricane game is one to keep your eye on.
Yeah, I'll take the upset. I'll take the upset. I'll take Hurricane over Parkersburg.
Landon with the upset special.
Yes, yeah. That would be the first time in years, I'm sure. They haven't made it states.
I mean, they've been a dominant program in AAA, to say the least. I mean, Parkersburg and AAA girls basketball is just like St. Joe's was in single A girls basketball.
Right.
And then I can't wait to talk about that section.
I do like Parkersburg South winning the section.
Oh, I do too. I mean, I think they're too strong. I mean, they got great shooters on their team. So I definitely think Parkersburg South wins the section and then gets the lovely job of hosting either Huntington or Cabell Midland. So
yeah, but that'll be fun. That'll be fun.
Oh yeah. So it'll be real interesting on that one. Is there any other 4A games that you're wanting to look at before we move on to AAA? Now don't
overthink it too much. I like that Musselman Jefferson game still over on the Panhandle.
That's probably one of my top games to watch for in 4A for the sectional games is the Musselman Jefferson game. Just because, number one, I mean, when they played this year, it was extremely close.
Right. Yeah. Calvin Midland Huntington obviously going to be fun. So.
No, I mean, without a doubt, and I'm excited. I know it's not a sectional game. I know it's the MSAC title game Saturday. At South Charleston High School with GW and Calvin Midland, which you never know could be a preview for the state championship game.
Calvin Midland beat them by 3 in regular season, so that'll be a fun show.
It'll definitely be fun to watch. Now we're going to move right along and go on to AAA Region 1, Section 1 with North Marion, Weir, Wheeling Central, and Oak Glen. I think North Marion takes care of Oak Glen. the Wheeling Central game. Wheeling Central's not what they have been. We'll just put it at that. With a lot of key losses from last season's team that they did make it down here. I'm going to go with North Marion over Oak Glen, and then I think Weir beats Wheeling Central, and then I think North Marion wins the section.
Yeah, definitely North Marion over Oak Glen. Then I like Wheeling Central over Weir because Weir's beat them twice, both by single digits. Hardest thing to do, probably be a team 3 times. So we'll take Wheeling Central on that.
That's not a great thing to hear if you're Pat Jones from Nitro, because if you do beat Point Pleasant on Wednesday, more than likely you're playing Ripley on Friday.
Yeah.
And they've beat them twice this year. So we'll just leave that there until we can.
A little bit more of a closer situation, though, since
right.
digits both times. But yeah, I like North Marion coming out of that section as well.
North Marion's just tough. They've been number 2 all season long, right behind Fairmont Senior.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Olivia Tolan is just, she's a sharpshooter. When she gets on the offensive side of half court, she's in range.
Right. Yeah.
She can knock it down. She can beat you off the dribble and take you to the basket. She's just a fantastic player from North Marion.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have Section 2. We'll have Kaiser against Berkeley Springs, the 2-3, and then the winner of that game will play Hampshire. I just think Hampshire comes out of that section.
Yeah, I agree. I think this section straight up Kaiser over Berkeley Springs.
Right.
Hampshire.
Definitely with that. We'll move right along to Region 2. We have Section 1. We have Fairmont Senior, East Fairmont, Philip Barber, and Grafton, which will put Fairmont against Grafton, and then East against Philip Barber. And I think Fairmont Senior, there's just too much with the Grafton transfer this year. I definitely think Morley and Meredith are a very, very good duo.
Yeah, we'll say a powerful duo. We'll go with that.
Let's be truthful about this. Nate, can you name a better duo in the state in girls basketball other than those two?
Probably not.
But I think Fairmont takes care of Grafton. I think East takes care of Philip Barber. And that Fairmont Senior East Fairmont game could be really, really, really good.
Yeah, I think Fairmont got them only by 10 in the regular season, so it might be a little bit closer than what people think.
Right. I still think Fairmont's too much, and they come out on top of the section. But you never know. It's playoff basketball, and it's real, real interesting.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But I definitely think that Fairmont comes out of that. I guess you can't go wrong by saying Fairmont comes out of it because it'll be East or Fairmont Senior. So,
There you go.
I think a team from Fairmont wins that section.
Yeah.
But I do think the Lady Polar Bears definitely win that section and head on to regionals.
Yep, I agree.
Now we go to Section 2 with Lewis County, Lincoln, RCB, Elkins, and Liberty Harrison. And that means Lincoln plays RCB, which is quite the game. And then the Elkins Liberty Harrison winner will play Lewis County. Lincoln, if you remember, we were there last year. Lincoln won their first game of the state tournament last year against the Nitro Lady Wildcats. But the big difference this year, I definitely think Lewis County comes out of this section. Yeah. Because Lincoln, a fantastic season so far, even after losing your top scorer from last season in Victoria Sturm, who is now at RCB. So, it's playoff basketball, but I still think that Lewis County wins the section.
Yeah, that Lincoln game versus Nitro State tournament last year was crazy. Lincoln, they just never stopped fighting. They were fighting the whole time.
And that's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing that me and you've talked about, me and Pat's talked about. And it just looked like Nitro was tired towards the end of the game last year. We did a couple interviews yesterday at Nitro, and that's a big thing that everybody talked about was compared to last season, they're in a lot better shape. They were tired against that. Now, this has been an interesting season to say the least, just because Nitro didn't play this week. They played 4 games last week. They played Tuesday night against Point, and then played Thursday night against Wayne, Friday against Point again, and then Saturday at Ripley. They won all 4 games. Nitro's 12-1, fantastic season so far. But you could tell in that Ripley game, their 4th game in 5 days, they were definitely tired, but they did pull it out. But I mean, moving right along, we have Pikeview, Westside, Shady, and Independence. So we'll have Westside against Shady and Pikeview against Independence. I think in that one, I think Pikeview definitely takes care of Independence. And the Westside Shady game is interesting to me. I've seen I've seen Westside play a couple times this year.
Yeah.
Not in person, obviously on video. And that was both times against Wyoming East. I think Wyoming East was just too much for them there, but I think Pikeview definitely takes care of business and comes out of that section.
Yeah, I like Pikeview and Westside matching up 1-2 in championship. Not like Pikeview getting a section there.
Yeah, I definitely think. And this next one is a very intriguing one to me before we get down to the Nitro and all that.
Mm-hmm.
It's Sissonville, Hoover, Midland Trail, and Nicholas County. Sissonville will play Nicholas, and then Hoover plays Trail. I think Hoover takes care of business there, and I think Sissonville takes care of business. And I think you have a fun matchup with Sissonville and Hoover for the sectional final.
The rivalry.
It's always been like that. I mean, but I'm pretty sure didn't Sissonville beat them, I think, last week?
Yeah, by 9, I think.
Okay.
Hoover, right?
Yeah. I definitely think that'll be a very, very good game.
Yeah.
When you look at just game matchups, I think that's going to be a very good one.
Yeah, I think Sissonville over Nicholas. I think the Hoover and Midland Trail game will be close. They haven't played, but they both had near the same score against Nicholas County, even though you can't really match that up. So we'll
right.
Goes. And then I think Sissonville is going to be too much for Hoover to control. That Cindy Farmer girl down low, she just knows how to use her body.
She's great. And then when you talk about matchup-wise, I definitely think that even if Hoover does play Sissonville, I don't think they have anybody that can match up with Madison McCutcheon.
Right, yeah.
So I definitely think Sissonville comes out of that section. And then the fun section, the fun region.
Yeah.
When you talk about a top 10 program, you can pick almost anybody from this region. We looked at it. Yeah, we looked at it the other day. There's 5 teams in the top 10 in girls AAA from one region, and only 2 of them get to Charleston. So it should be interesting. Section 1, it's Nitro against Point, and then Ripley against Winfield.
Yeah.
I think Ripley beats Winfield, and I think Nitro takes care of Point Pleasant on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So I definitely think Nitro matches up once again for the 3rd time this season against Ripley. I know their last game was only, I think, a 4-point win.
Yeah.
And then the first time they played them this year, I think they beat them by like 12 or 13.
Right. Yeah.
Somewhere around in there.
I think Nitro gets out of section 2, and I think when they match up against Ripley this time, they're gonna have a point to prove. So I think double-digit win over Ripley to win the section.
I definitely think so, and it's nothing against Ripley. Ripley's just young.
Yeah.
The Ripley has a bunch of sophomores and a junior or 2, I think. But for the next year or 2, I mean, Ripley would be a team, in my opinion, to keep an eye out on because they're so young.
Right. Yeah.
But I definitely agree with you. I definitely think Nitro comes out of the section. And then this next section's real intriguing. You have Logan, Wayne, St. Joe's, Lincoln County, who are all top 10 teams, and then Scott. Lincoln County, I think, plays Scott on the 12th. And then the winner of that game, which I believe will be Lincoln County, will play Logan. And then the Wayne St. Joe game is real intriguing. I know you've seen Wayne play twice this season.
Yeah.
I've seen Wayne play once, and that was obviously at Nitro last week. So, I mean, Wayne is very, very good.
Yeah.
Wayne's
coming off that loss to Tulsa, too, by 5. So, I don't know. Bad stretch, I guess. That's back to losses. They're only losses.
Yeah, because going into the Nitro game, they haven't been beat.
Right.
They lost at Nitro by 13, I think it was. And then they lost to Tulsa by 5 to end the season, which is crazy. You haven't lost all year, and then you play those 2 teams and get beat back to back.
Right.
I definitely think Lincoln County takes care of Scott. And then I think Logan beats Lincoln County. But it's just the Wayne St. Joe's game.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that Lincoln County game might be a little close too than what people are expecting. I think they played in regular season. It was close too. And yeah, that Wayne. I think the biggest thing that stuck out with Wayne is they keep fighting, like they're not giving up, and they have a bunch of good sets too offensively and run to get layups, 15-footers.
I'm glad you said that they keep fighting because that was a big thing that, I mean, obviously we're doing the documentary for Nitro this season, so we were there at those games. But the big thing is Nitro got up 20-8, I believe, at the end of the first quarter against Wayne.
Yeah.
But Wayne never gave up. Wayne ended up outscoring Nitro in the second quarter and taking a 3-point lead at halftime. I mean, Wayne is always fighting, and I guess I'm going to go with it. I'm going to take Wayne over St. Joe.
Yeah. St. Joe, what I've noticed, they run this 2-3 and they pack it in. So the off guard, like when the ball goes to wing, the off guard covers the middle of the free throw line where they try to stick somebody in the center. So they're basically trying to make you shoot over them. I think Wayne, though, offensively, their stats, they're just too good because they like to go short baseline, crash, pass, layup. So I think Wayne's got that. They got height. So looking at it, I'll take Wayne over St. Joe.
That's what I mean. I'm right there with you with that pick, and then that gives you Logan versus Wayne. Never played this season,
right?
So should make for a fun sectional final.
Yeah.
Obviously, it would be at Logan. Who you got?
I'll take Wayne.
Take Wayne.
Yeah, I think they got more height and just I don't know. Logan, they're not as consistent. I don't think they could be more consistent with their game. So if Logan has a bad night, it ain't going to be too good.
Right.
They'll have to play a solid game, to say the least.
So when you look at, let's just give, if our picks are correct and you have Nitro winning the section over Ripley and then Wayne winning the section against Logan, that means you will put Ripley against Wayne in the region and then Nitro at home against Logan.
And Nitro only won by 1 when they played in regular season.
They beat them 40.
That's what makes this region fun.
And that's before we dive into AA and single A, that's the big thing that me and you've talked about this week is when you have 5 teams in the top 10 in girls AAA from the same region and 2 are only making it to the tournament.
Right.
That brings the question of, is there something that needs changed?
Yeah. The only thing I think that's really holding it back is they want representation throughout the state. So you can't leave this team out over here from this team here. But I would rather have the more competitive state tournament, say.
I mean, even that you could do, I mean, just a quick glance at it, you could do the top 16 and for the first round of games, you could play at the higher seed. And then once you get it down to 8, then you can just go to the Civic Center and play.
Yeah, that's what I like more, but not our clearly not our decision.
I think that's above our pay grade.
Yeah, I agree.
Just a question. Now we'll dive right into AA and single A. A little more difficult to get these seedings and sectionals than it was for the 3A and 4A, but we got them all for you all, and we're going to talk about them just a little bit. Now, obviously, when you have AA, you have Region 1, Section 1, which is St. Mary's, Ritchie, and Magnolia, and which means Ritchie against Magnolia, and then the winner will play St. Mary's.
Yeah, I think Ritchie over Magnolia, they played in regular season, took care of business. St. Mary's, I think, beat Ritchie twice already this season. I think the second game was a little bit closer, and first might have been single digits even. But I do like St. Mary's coming out of that section. I'm
definitely right there with you. I think every pick was correct. It's going to be interesting. I definitely think St. Mary's is a little deeper than what Ritchie is. So I definitely think St. Mary's comes out of that section.
I agree.
Now you have Section 2. You have Parkersburg Catholic, Williamstown, and Wirt, which will pin Williamstown against Wirt, and then the winner will play Parkersburg Catholic.
Yeah. Williamstown, I got overworked. Williamstown was just too deep. They got some experience. And then Parkersburg Catholic over Williamstown. I mean, Parkersburg Catholic's as good as it gets. So I think Williamstown will get outlasted there, and Parkersburg Catholic will win that section.
I'm definitely on the same page with that. I definitely think Parkersburg Catholic, obviously, when you talk Catholic, you talk Leslie Huffman. She's having a fantastic season this year. And it's going to be real interesting because then you have Parkersburg Catholic against Ritchie and then Williamstown against St. Mary's, which are both very good matchups in the region.
Williamstown actually they beat St. Mary's just a couple of weeks back, I think, by like 11. So who knows how that'll play out.
Yeah, it's going to be – and there's a big difference. I mean, obviously it's a regular season game, but just like you said before we started recording, it's a big difference when that state tournament bid is on the line.
Yeah, for sure. It's like laying it out there, you might not get enough.
Exactly right, and that's what – I mean, we have a lot of clients of all of these smaller schools, and it's real interesting to say the least.
Yeah.
Now we're going to go down to Region 2. We have Frankfort as the 1, Petersburg as the 2, and Moorfield as the 3, which would put Petersburg against Moorfield, and then the winner plays Frankfort. I think Petersburg wins against Moorfield, and I think Frankfort wins the section.
Yeah, I think Frankfort. I think Petersburg definitely can get Moorfield, and I think Frankfort just kind of has a runaway section. I mean, they're one of the top teams in AA, so I think they're just too powerful for this section.
I definitely – I'm right there with you on the same page. And then I'm assuming this next section, it's kind of different to me. Obviously, you have Trinity, and then you have Braxton County, South Harrison, and Notre Dame. Trinity, I think, takes care of Notre Dame, but that 2-3 matchup, Braxton against South Harrison, could be real interesting.
Right. That's two teams with losing records too. So Trinity, they're 6-4. So I mean, you really don't know with this section.
Right. This section could be, the 3 seed coming out of the South Harrison, but I truly think the 2 comes out. I think Braxton County does enough.
Yeah.
To win the section.
Yeah, I mean, Braxton County, I think they get South Harrison. They beat them regular season too, pretty deservingly. Trinity would beat Notre Dame. I think I like Trinity over Braxton County to win the section.
It's a real intriguing because a lot of games were canceled.
Yeah.
So this is the time that everything needs to come together.
Right.
And you need to play your best basketball.
Yeah. I mean, we're getting ready to get on here, and then like Brooke, they're out for quarantine. I'm like, so who knows? Who knows who's going to be playing what? Who knows?
And I definitely think, we've dealt with that all season.
Right. Yeah.
And there's been a lot of teams even that didn't test positive but had contact tracing and things like that had to sit out. I believe Nitro canceled 2 or 3 games. 2 games they canceled, 1 they rescheduled, which I think was a Point Pleasant game, because of contact tracing after they played Logan. Yeah. I think those 2 games that were canceled were Oak Hill and Polka, which, in my opinion, Nitro wins both of those games pretty easily.
Yeah. I mean, this is basic. It's the new normal. Everybody's used to it. But, I mean, when you get told that you can't play and your season's done, kind of sucks a little.
And that's why I think you've seen a lot of teams cancel this past week. This week currently is because there's no point to take a chance.
Right.
Like Nitro was going to play GW, which would have been a fantastic game, obviously with 2 of the best players in the state going head-to-head. But, I mean, you got to think further down the road. You got to think sectionals and regionals in the state tournament. And if I can promise you, if Nitro would have tested positive or had contact tracing and been out starting next week, that wouldn't have been one phone call I would have wanted.
Yeah, I mean, that type of stuff's just not worth the risk. You might as well just get ready for the postseason, play the games that matter.
Exactly right. And we're at the point, obviously, you got to win the first game, and then you basically win 1 game and you're in regionals. But once you get out of sectionals, I mean, it's win or go home.
Yeah, right.
So it would be awful to get, I guess, to get that call that say, hey, somebody tested positive and you all have to quarantine or whatever, and your season's over. Especially if you're.
Plus, where all the athletes, they're playing 3-4 games a week. Like, this is good rest time, practice. It's perfect for this week.
Exactly right. Now, moving on to Region 3 and AA still, Section 1, you have Wyoming East against the winner of Summers County and Bluefield. I think Summers County takes care of business and plays Wyoming East for the section. But I think, Wyoming East has already beaten Summers County pretty handedly this year.
Yeah.
So I definitely think Wyoming East comes out of the section.
Yeah, I got Summers County over Bluefield. Might be a little closer than what people think. But I do like Wyoming East over Summers County. Wyoming East, they got some depth to them, I'd say. They got experience. They got experience and talent too. So.
They lost to Pikeview last year in their region, and didn't make the state tournament. But we've been able to build that relationship with Ron Davidson and those people down that way. And you just root for a team like that who, but when you look at Wyoming East team, and obviously you see Skylar, but with her, I don't want to say the only losses they're having this year is Skylar and Sarah, but when you look at the roster and everybody coming back, you might like their chances again next year.
Yeah, I think that's real interesting because over at Woodrow, they lost Wiz Cadle, and I was like, oh, they'll be good now. They're kind of down this year. So seeing how East responds without Skylar being the leader and Sarah, it'll be interesting. You can be really good or struggle a little bit.
Yeah, and definitely I think Woodrow has picked up the pieces and finally back where they need to be.
Yeah,
but I definitely think that Wyoming East comes out of this section. And then you have Section 2, you have Chapmanville against Liberty Raleigh, and then the winner of that game will play Mingo Central.
Yeah, I like Chapmanville here over Liberty Raleigh. Both of those teams, I don't even – their record not too impressive. But that's besides the point, I guess. So I got Chapmanville over Liberty Raleigh. And then Mingo Central, they're tough. They'll have that section, I think, pretty easily.
Yeah. So if you want to look a little past sectionals and you have regionals, if our picks are correct, you'd have Wyoming East against Chapmanville. Obviously, we're going to go with East on that one. And then Summers County at Mingo Central, which would be a fantastic game.
Yeah, I think Mingo got enough. They've actually played Summers County twice this year, and they've beat them both times. Third game, never know. But.
You never know with that third game with a ticket on the line to Charleston.
Yeah, I like Mingo.
But now we roll down to Region 4, Section 1 and 2. With Section 1, we have Buffalo against Polka, and then the winner will play Charleston Catholic. I think Buffalo beats Polka, and I think Charleston Catholic beats Buffalo.
Yeah, I think Buffalo definitely gets Polka. Catholic over Buffalo. Catholic likes going. They use their inside game a decent bit, and they got length. So I like Catholic getting out of that section.
And then Section 2, you have Roane against Clay County, and then the winner will play Ravenswood. I definitely think Roane has enough to get past Clay, but I think Ravenswood wins the section.
Yeah, Clay's down, so I would definitely like Roane over Clay any day. Roane County, Ravenswood might be a little bit of a close matchup. I think the leadership, Annie Hunt leadership, Roane County, a little bit down on experience. I like Ravenswood over Roane County.
Yeah, I definitely think that Ravenswood wins the section, and then I think Ravenswood would host Buffalo, and then Roane would travel to Charleston Catholic.
Yeah.
So regionals are going to be fun. Obviously, we still have single A to go through, but it's hard not to look and say, okay, well, we think this team wins. Well, let's look at their regional matchup. Mm-hmm. But I'll digress until we at least get past the section. Mm-hmm. Now we're breaking down single A. Region 1, Section 1, we have Cameron, Madonna as the 2, Valley Wetzel as the 3, 100 High School as the 4, and Payton City as the 5. So what that would do is obviously Madonna versus Valley Wetzel is the 2-3 matchup.
Yeah.
100 would play Payton City as the 4 or 5, and the winner of that game would play Cameron.
Yeah. I like 100 over Payton City to start off, and then Madonna. I'll take Madonna over Valley. Might be a good 2-3 matchup there. I think
That's a very,
Madonna,
very, very good 2-3 matchup that not many people are talking about, especially around our area.
yeah, mostly single A too. But I think Madonna they got a big inside, so I think they'll be fine there. And I like Cameron taking the section. I think they're
I'm with you.
powerful.
Yeah, definitely. I'm with you on that section. Basically, every pick we're right on the same page with that. And then when you move into section 2, you have the 1-4 matchup would be Doddridge County against Wood County, which I'm assuming that's Wood County Christian.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
The good old day. We used to play them when I played in high school. So
back in the good old days, huh?
Back in the we'll just say 2000. So about 15 years ago, that's who we played. But I think Dodgers is too much for Wood County. But congrats to Wood County. This is their first year with the new reclassification in single A. So definitely good thing for them for moving on up. But I think Clay Battelle takes care of Tyler Consolidated. And I think Clay Battelle can beat Doddridge in this section.
Yeah, I definitely like Doddridge over Wood County. Clay Battelle over Tyler Consolidated. And then I like Doddridge to win the section. They have some young talent, a couple 20, 24 girls, I think. So they're pretty tough.
Oh, without a doubt, they're definitely talented. But it's hard to pick against Miss Ammons from Clay Battelle.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's why I'm going with Clay Battelle in that section. And now Region 2, Section 1, you have Tucker County as the 1, Union as the 2, and then East Hardy as the 3. The 2-3 matchup, Union against East Hardy, I think Union wins. And then I think Tucker County is just too much, and they win that section.
Yeah, I think Union gets East Hardy. Might be a little close, I don't know. Union should take care of that business, and Tucker over Union to win. I think Tucker's too big.
Oh, I do too. Another name people aren't talking about that should be talking about is Miss Katie Colbank from Tucker County. She's just killing it this year. She's having a fantastic season, so big shout out to her. But I definitely think Tucker wins the section.
Yes.
And then Section 2 in the same region, you have the 2-3 matchup, which would be Taggarts Valley against Pocahontas County, and then the winner gets Pendleton. So I'm going straight chalk on this one again. I think Taggarts beats Pocahontas, and then Pendleton wins the section.
Let's go chalk. Yeah, I think Taggarts Valley might give Pendleton a little bit run for the money, but I think Pendleton's got enough to get that section.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that. I think Taggarts Valley keeps it a game, but I think Pendleton pulls it out in the end.
Yeah.
Now, Region 3, Section 1, you have the 1 seed as Riverview, the 2 is James Monroe, and then Montcalm against Greater Beckley is a 3-4, and then the 5 is Mount View. So you'll have Greater Beckley against Mount View, and then winner of that game will play Riverview, and then James Monroe against Montcalm. I think Greater Beckley beats Mount View, and then Riverview beats Greater Beckley. And then James Monroe beats Montcalm, and I think Riverview wins the section.
Yeah, I agree with you completely on there. Riverview versus James Monroe in that final game. Hearing a lot of hype about both of those teams, so
definitely
might have a good matchup on our hands there. Both of those teams, if they go 1-2 in their section, they both could make it a Charleston possible.
Yeah, it's going to be real interesting. When you look at Section 2, you have Webster against the 4 seed at Meadowbridge, and then Greenbrier West is the 3 against Richwood as the 2. I definitely think Webster takes care of business against Meadowbridge, and Richwood beats Greenbrier West, and I think Webster beats Richwood. Yeah,
I agree. I think the Richwood Greenbrier West game could be a little bit close, but I think Richwood's got too much. And I think Webster County is too talented through Sydney Berry. Sharpshooter.
You talk about a sharpshooter. I mean, she's one of the top 2023s in the state, averaging 30 points a game. I believe it's 50 to 60% shooting from the floor. I mean,
That sounds like my
it's
numbers. Sounds like
does oh I mean that's what I thought when Ryan sent me their information. That was the first thought I had was, wow, Landon must have taught her to shoot. But I definitely think Webster comes out of the section. And then that Webster County versus James Monroe game, if seedings hold, could be real interesting.
That's a lot, I'm thinking.
So definitely anxious to see the regional matchups. And then last but not least, we have Region 4, Section 1 and 2. The 1 seed, we have Tug Valley. The 2, we have Tulsa. 3 is Sherman, and 4 is Van. I think Tug Valley takes care of Van, and then I think Tulsa takes care of Sherman. And I think that Tug Valley-Tulsa game is going to be a fantastic game.
Yeah, I agree. Tulsa coming off that one against Lane. I mean, I just turned heads right there. I mean, I didn't see that coming.
Oh, I didn't see it coming either, but fantastic game for Tulsa. I mean, that gives you the motivation you need headed into the postseason.
But also Tug Valley, they just beat Gilmer County by, I think, 9 or something around there. So, I mean, 2 teams coming off great wins. I mean, it could be a good matchup if they get there.
I definitely think that Tug Valley does have a little too much, and I think Tug Valley beats Tulsa.
Yeah, I agree. I think Tug Valley, I think they got a little bit more talent, I think, through Bazin. They can knock down shots like crazy. I like Tug Valley over Tulsa.
And then Section 2, you have the 1 seed Gilmer against Hannon, and then the 2 seed Calhoun County against Wahama. I think Gilmer takes care of Hannon, and I think Calhoun takes care of Wahama. And another very good game in single A is Gilmer against Calhoun.
Yeah, I agree. I think Calhoun, they can take care of Wahama pretty good. Gilmer should easily have Hannon, and then Gilmer-Calhoun will be a good matchup. I mean, Gilmer, they've had a couple, I guess you could say, losses not expected. I think they've lost about 4 games this year. So, I mean, if it's not their night, it might not be a good night, but they'll both get to that sectional final and have a chance at regionals at least. I'll do like Gilmer, though, over Calhoun in that final.
I do, too. I think Gilmer, and I know we've said this a ton so far, but I think it's a real close game, but I think Gilmer pulls it out in the end.
Yeah, definitely agree.
But, guys, we want to thank everybody that's going to tune in and watch this, and everybody for supporting WVSN through this pandemic. It's been a crazy year. We've had to come up with a lot of interesting ways to get content out to you guys, but we appreciate everybody. Big thing, guys, we want to let everybody know what's going on. This will be released on Monday, April the 12th. So we're excited for that. But, guys, also we have the documentary going on with Nitro High School girls basketball. It's been fun to cover them this season. Excited, actually, to see, what happens with the documentary, how it comes out. So something different we talked about for a while. I think myself and Landon actually talked about it starting at the state tournament last year to do a documentary. We picked Nitro because we have a very good relationship with the head coach and Pat Jones. And basically, this is a trial period. If it turns out great, then we'll see what we can do with the upcoming seasons. But if not, we tried. It didn't work.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what else to say about that. I mean, it's something different that hasn't been done in West Virginia, and that's the big thing that we want to do.
Yeah.
We want to do things that haven't been done, or just we don't want to be like everybody else.
New ways to connect with the kids and the athletes of the state and the teams and stuff like that.
And it's been real fun. When you're following one specific, I mean, we don't just follow Nitro. That's just who we're following for the documentary.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people that we do cover this season, and it's just great to build those relationships with these kids and their communities and everything like that, and give these kids a platform to talk or promote. I mean, there's a lot of talent in girls basketball in West Virginia, and me and Landon, we've been talking for just about over a year. It's just the girls basketball in West Virginia doesn't get the coverage that the boys do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've seen that the past couple of years at the state tournament. Last year was crazy because there was no boys tournament. And there was only a day and a half of the girls. But the year before, I mean, everybody was at the boys tournament. And, I mean, the girls tournament just doesn't get the coverage. But we're working towards trying to figure out what we're going to do for the state tournament this year. Obviously, we'll do our interviews like we always do. We'll make a post. Probably tournament starts on Tuesday this year instead of Wednesday. So, yeah, since we added an extra day, I think it starts Tuesday through Saturday.
Yeah.
I think what we'll do is we'll make a post probably Sunday or Saturday prior to once regionals are done, we'll make a post. Once we know who's going to the state tournament, we'll make a post. And I think we had, I believe, if I'm not wrong, before the tournament got canceled last year, I think we had 35 to 40 interviews set up.
Yeah.
We didn't get a chance to do them all due to the fact that it was canceled. But this year, I mean, we've played through COVID all season. And I definitely think, unless there's a crazy, crazy outbreak, I think we do have the state tournament.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely get those interviews to you all. So once the field is set for the state tournament, we'll definitely release some stuff. But now it's the fun time during sectionals and trying to figure out what we're going to do.
Yeah. This when the fun starts, though. Get that postseason basketball and all the good games are coming.
Now, let's be honest. The fun part comes once basketball and spring sports are over, like all summer.
Yeah.
You have to figure out what you're going to post.
Yeah.
But until football season starts. But we're excited. Obviously, we'll be at Nitro on Wednesday. We're hoping to make it out to South Charleston High School on Saturday to see the GW Midland game. But, Layden, do you have anything else for these lovely people that are listening today?
Anything else? Stay away from COVID. Surviving.
Exactly right.
There you go. That's your surviving in advance.
Technically, this year it is survive in advance. It's not even talking about a game. It's survive COVID in advance.
Contact tracing, all that fun stuff.
But, all right, brother, I appreciate you, and we will tune in next week.
Okay. See you.
Yes, sir.